Walt Disney had no idea. The Florida project was what they called Disney World in Orlando, Florida, when the company was beginning their second Disney destination enterprise. There was already one in California, of course, called Disneyland, wildly successful, the destination goal of the American family out driving the country on vacation with the kids. It became de rigueur a must-see stop for foreign visitors as well. You just could not get more American than this. The East Coast was desolate without a Disney getaway to fantasy. That was changed in 1971.
Experimental, prototype, community of tomorrow. Here it is in larger scale.
It is ironic that Walt Disney was concerned with buying enough land to be sure that the area around the park would not become sleazy or too commercial and unkempt.
In my opinion, what Walt was trying to do, he was trying to show how, through the free enterprise system, you could take virgin land and develop it properly and enhance the environment rather than take away from it.
Unfortunately, Walt might not like what he would see in the Florida project. This area that borders the Magic Kingdom is not magic. But here, we join life as it is lived today near Disney World. The life in the somewhat run-down, somewhat sleazy, but gaudy motels that have been more or less delegated to house the homeless. The great filmmaker Ramin Bahrani took us to this American tragedy a few years ago in a film that we saw. It was called 99 Homes. Now, we move on. The houses are gone. The families are in a sort of public housing, but it is semi-temporary. Stability in their lives is elusive. All these are factors which weigh on people, which drain them of their dignity. They must pay their rent out of their welfare check and what they're able to earn. Most are either waitresses or have low-paying menial work. Others, like Haley, prostitute themselves. There really are not a lot of choices. But Sean Baker always presents the facts somewhat surreptitiously, subtly. We only hear the conversation between the client and Mooney's mom as the little girl sits in the bathtub. We see through her face how strange and frightening and dark all this is.
Bathrooms off limits.
This is
Out. Oh, look at Moon.
fucking kid in here.
Whatever. Out. Moon, I'll be right back, okay?
Orlando's #1 for commercial-free hip-hop.
I got my money.
Social services organizes the tenants to some degree. These are well-meaning, overworked, and underpaid employees, mostly women. But the person of Bobby, in the form of actor Willem Dafoe, is that of many motel managers. They become erstwhile parent figures, caretakers. They connect with this needful group of people, both men and women, children and adults.
I was aware of Sean because I had seen his film Tangerine, which was a very interesting, strong film, shot on an iPhone, famously. So he was on my radar from that. So he was a filmmaker I was interested in. Beautiful script. Then I met with him. He told me how he was going to make the film. And I felt excited, and so I agreed to do it, yeah.
What did that consist of, that sort of telling you how he was going to make it?
Well, it just to familiarize me with his process and how he makes things. And one of the things that he does that is quite particular to him is he likes, for example, in casting, he mixes actors with, people, street casting. For example, one of the main characters in this film, he found on Instagram, and she's fantastic. He mixes, people that are living at location, in this case, with actors, new actors, older actors, and I knew that was going to be a dynamic. Also, I knew we were going to film at an actual working motel, which is the location of an important character in the story, and I was going to play the manager of that motel. So I knew I had very tangible things to do in a real environment, and I knew the reality of that would inform what we were doing, the story we were telling.
The luck, persistence, and instinct for casting is apparent here once more. As we saw in American Honey, A film from the same bedrock as this, dealing with the same people, really. As we saw in that film, American Honey, that also has one or two professional actors mixed in with a mostly amateur group, and they are producing something that verges on a documentary. 7-year-old knockout star Brooklyn Prince, who plays Mooney, lives in Winter Park, Florida, and had done some modeling. Her mother says she told Brooklyn to just, in quotes, imagine it's you going through this, that's all. And she did. Casting like this produces a feeling, or really a semblance of reality. The delivery of lines, the voice modulation is extremely natural with non-professionals.
Underrepresented stories, underrepresented communities and subcultures. It's my response to what I'm not seeing in U.S. cinema. But I don't think it was so much of a conscious thing. It was more of like, I feel that these stories should be told because I want to know more about it. It gives me the opportunity to learn more about other people.
This time Baker shot on 35mm film and cast a big supporting name in Willem Dafoe as the motel manager. He found one of his leads, Bria Venita, through social media. He thought she looked the part. She'd never acted before. That made the 7-year-old Brooklyn Prince, who had done some acting, the veteran.
So I would be a little bit nervous, but Sean and Willem, Brooklyn, everyone on set just always made me feel really confident and comfortable, and because of them, I just felt like I had the confidence to do it.
Bria Venati, who plays the young mother of Mooney, was born in Lithuania, but emigrated to Brooklyn as a young child. She'd never acted. She was selected simply through photos on her Instagram account. And Scooty, the little boy, actually did live in the Purple Motel and actually was there as a social services patron. Now, let's talk about the ending. Of course, we know what's coming. We know this can't go on. Society is going to step in. So how does he choose to end this film when our hearts are already broken? He chooses a perfect path, which was there the whole time. The two little girls connect and dream they will run away to the magic kingdom of Disney World. The director at this moment switches the film camera to his iPhone to film this dreamy last sequence. We know in reality that Mooney is going to a foster home, but we get to see that she has learned she can depend on someone. She can depend on her friend. And she can tell her friend what's happening and what is in her heart. And in a dream, the two will run away to the magic kingdom. We know this is a dream. The texture of the footage tells us. And we are hit even harder by the truth of what we have seen. The juxtaposition of fantasy next to the reality of this frightful purple motel. Maybe this is a downer. Maybe this is a lesson. Maybe it heightens our awareness. It is certainly real. It certainly exists all over the world. Europe has the same facilities. I keep coming back to the word heartbreaking. As Sean Baker tells us, the Florida Project's more whimsical childhood setting is reminiscent of the Little Rascals of Our Gang, or the seminal work of the early 50s naturalism, Little You Fugitive, which followed a working-class runaway navigating the chaos of Coney Island. Different eras, same problems. The same broken hearts, only this time around the filmmaker is going for reality. It's hard to watch, but the joy of seeing the life force of these children, the brave resiliency of people who will cease to exist without that very tough stance. Oh, Walt Disney, where are you now? Did we really believe in all that fantasy?